Good morning, Rabbi Isai. What a day, what a day. I feel it. Gewaldig. Hayoim, Shnayim Vesrim Yoim, Sheheim, Shleisha Shavuos, V'yoim Echad, Lo'imer, Aboimer. Sirius Ha'omer, Lefor Sadmor, Mevision Shlita, Kvoi Dushas Mor, Yisroel Ben Leas, Lefor Shlema. Rabbi Isai, a massive siyum, expecting close to 1,000 people at the siyum. It's going to be unbelievable. A lot of surprises. In our Menot Chain, a double hall, two. I can always. There is parking. There's parking. Yes, I love it.
So consistent.
If there's room, which ladies that do the daf or ladies that don't do the daf? Stop, ladies. I don't think so. It's Bnei Brak. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. We don't have a plan for it yet, but maybe. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. See, Menachos Menachos, we are looking for sponsors. It's subsidized by Moshe Cohen himself, the owner of that hall, and we're charging 100 shekel, but there's still a lot of costs on top of that, close to $20,000, $30,000 minimum. Toronto, satellite Thursday nights. It's a lot of children there, Wow. And adults. Woo. What a room. Canada. This is your friend, Simcha Firestone. Our voice, check this out.
Good evening. My name is Simcha Firestone. In the last several years, I have been learning and growing and listening to, on a daily basis, one of the most powerful, energetic, and learned Torah scholars of our generation. He is world known, smart, funny, nice, and I am very grateful that I am able to be his student and be a part of his life. I would like everybody to please stand as we welcome and call up my Rebbe and teacher, Rabbi Eli Stefansky. Oh my God! Wait! Wrong speech. Wrong dinner. Daddy! Oh my gosh! 1 second. Where are those notes?
It's the wrong speech, he said. He's trying to call up Rabbi Efron Goldberg. He was calling up Rabbi Efron Goldberg, but he got the wrong speech. There's more laughs in this room than over there, I think. I don't know if Dylan appreciate it over there. Yeah. At my son's Sheva Brachas, so one of his friends gets up and says, B'shos, the biggest mega cheer in America, and this, a whole long this, and then he pulls out a picture of Rebbe Bornstein. I got into the plane today, I look across the aisle and see this person completely engrossed in the daf with AirPods, iPhone, and a Gemara full of sticky notes. You should recognize him. Believe it or not, it's on the same day, I believe, that he himself donated, Neil Halpern donated the daf. It is a kiss from Hashem. Anu Tasim Ve'im Tasim. This is an interesting one. I recently got started this year, got kind of pulled in, good way, by my two friends, Murad Nakash and Ari Hershkowitz. I figured it's easy to start in Menachos, get ready for Chulin. It's really amazing. Cheshek, Torah. While I was learning, watching with my 11-year-old Volvi, my 11-year-old Volvi came over and asked me, "You're learning Stefansky?" I was surprised. I told him I just started. He tells me he's been learning Yeshirim for a while already, apparently behind my back, LOL. This generation, you never know what they're doing behind your back. They might be learning shiurim and watching clips. He started pushing me to learn with the daf. So Bezrat Hashem, we started chulin together. We're going to start chulin together. Somehow, we also set up. Listen to this. They decided. We also set up that if when we finish chulin, we're getting sponsored tickets. They already know where they're getting sponsored tickets from. My dear friend Murad Nakash. Come to Yeshir. Just giving you a heads up. So just a small comment. Yesterday's Yeshir by the Carbon Oil of Yari, there was a picture showing poor, middle class, and rich. And I felt a little stereotyped. Why is a chassid poor, a yeshivish middle class, a modern American boy rich? I couldn't get it out of my head, so I figured out right. As a chassid, Baruch Hashem, there are plenty of Volti Chassidim. Not sure we always work in the usual traditional way, but we figure it out. Thank you again for everything you do. It's really inspiring. All the best.
They sure do.
Yosef Wurzberger. What's interesting is that, let's see when this one came in. I didn't look at the date or the time, but I know that they were both together, these emails. It says on top, Thursday, April 23rd, 6:51 p.m. Thursday, April 23rd, 2:31 p.m. Here's a woman who doesn't like the way we depict the women, like we have that lachluchas, and why are we showing lachluchas? Bringing carbon saita, we're long-standing way of depicting women in a Talmudic shir. I do understand the issue, but I need to say that we once have a humorous way to avoid a sensitive topic. Seems now, in light of the development of Daf Yomi in general, to be honest, many women learned the daf. Some very fine dafim were given by women. Blah blah blah. Okay. Bekitzer, Gar Levine, Yerushalayim. MDY Coffee Corner month. Kavadat Tefillah Committee. Dalef Nemiat Toimid. Official edition of MDY Shas. He's in America. By the Iranian Levi families, Perek, Anonymous, Lili Nishmas, Nochem Tzvi, Ben David, Shulhoif. Zichron Levracha. Daf Kuf Gimel Anonymous with gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all his kindness, brachas, and rachamim. Love it. Masechta sponsor David Salomon, dedicated memory of Avrimari, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Berem Chaim Tzvi Doiv, Zichron Levracha. Masechta sponsor Joel Gedalis, Lili Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalis, Anonymous, Hatzlach Baruch Niz V'Gashmias, the Palachik Family Foundation, Lezich Nishmas, Haralagoyin, Reb Shlomo Palachik, the Meshet Zilui. Anonymous, Refuah Shlema, the Moshe Ben Izah, Anonymous for complete Refuah Shlema, and Arichas Yom Talei Bas Esther. Yisrael Malki Toyed Teres Bicham Alvi Zah V'Chesed. We are so proud of you. Yaakov Mordechai keeps steiging. Sending Gross and family, Canby Island, UK, in honor of Rebelli, we changed my meaning of life. Play the Almari, Yossi Mark and Benny, and all the Oizim Tzorchim, the Kosh Baruch Shalom Schara. Ari Simon, Refuah Shlema, Avimori Baruch Ben Miriam. MDY Kids, Innovations LLC, as a schos for Akiva Simcha Ben Fego, and Rivka Yehudis Bas Yafachaya. Weekly sponsors, Anonymous, Refuah Shlema, Hayel, Yeshua Shalom, Ben Yocheved, Batya, Refuah Shlema. Daily sponsors, the Stoliner, MDY Chevra, the Zeich Nishmas, Harav HaKodesh, Yaakov Chayim, Ben Rabbi Yisrael, Kvoy Kedushas Admor, Stolen Karlin, Menuchas Kvoidoi, Detroit. Aryeh and Rafaela Greenfield, in celebration of our son Menachos Bar Mitzvah, Boy Bayoy. We're so proud of you. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Mayor Tzvi and Rochalea Lifshitz. Lishmas, our son. Avigdor Chai Avram Lifshitz, 50 yard site. Zainiyar, wow. And Shom should have an aliyah, and you should have an nechama if that's possible. Daily sponsors, Sprinzi and Avrami Gross, in memory of our grandmother, Sprinzi Bas Yosef, Yosefa, Aleh Shalom, and great aunt, Fruma Bas Ben Yamin Alevi, Aleh Shalom. Anonymous, in memory of Shimshon David, Ben Yosef Elimelech HaKoyen. Arnon and Nancy Steinhardt, in memory of Rabbi Stanley Steinhardt, Harav Shalom Doiv, Ben Nachman. And the way art, for Shlema, Yonatan Neitam, Ben B'Shavach Bracha, L'Rfu Shlema, Mordechai Ben Esther, L'Rfu Hayelet, Daniel Zev, Ben Ayelet Esther. Boys, I have a few surprises today. One of the best videos, AI videos, that we produced is an idea given by one of our Koilo Yungalite, Reb Mendy Auerbach. I'm not joking. He's part of our Koilo. He's part of our Koilo. He actually gets a little stipend, I think. But he did give an idea. It's going to be known. It's going to be famous around the world. When I saw it the first time, I was on the floor laughing hysterically. It's called medidos. Medidos with a samach at the end. Medidot. Measurements. Medidos. That's the name. But you have to wait until close to the end of the year to see it. Also, I'm telling you right now, on the way, mamish, literally walking on the way here, Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me an idea. So I said, if he threw it into my head, we got to do it. And the idea consists of a little, we're going to do a little competition, thank you, a little competition, where the prize money is $2,000, $1,000, and $500, and all it takes is making a short 30-second, 1-minute video, L'Kavod Chulin. Think about it. I'm going to talk about it in the middle of the shir. I'm going to show you a video that somebody sent me this morning, and it got me going. What if there were more of these videos? How many people would join the daf? So wait and see. So says the Heilige Mishnah, we're mamish in the middle of the daf, Kuf Beis Amud Beis. Ha'omer, Ha'omer harei alai b'machvas. We know that there are two types of menachos. There's many types of menachos. But two that are very, very similar, but done in, they're baked in different ways. One is a machvas, a very short, like a pan, flat pan, and one is a marcheshes, round, shallow, thank you, shallow pan. And what is a marcheshes? A deep pan. They have the same ingredients, but one burns off the oil quicker and therefore is a harder, like almost like a matzah kind of thing. The other one is more like a lafa, more like a chewier kind of dough. If you remember, we had
Do you have a frying vessel? Would you like a machavat or a margeshet?
The art is amazing.
It's all the same.
The havar is a little annoying to me.
Same. According to Rabbi Yosei Haglili, a marcheshet had a cover, while a mahavat had no cover.
And according to Rabbi Chanina and Gamliel, the machavat is shallow, so there's no room for the oil, so the mancha comes out hard. While the margeshet is deep, it bakes in the oil and comes out soft.
Okay, so if a person promises, he makes a neder, I'll bring a machvas, I'll bring a shallow frying pan, vehevi b'marcheshes, and they end up bringing the deeper one, it's a completely different mincha. So he's not yoitza. He has to bring another one. B'marcheshes, vehevi b'machvas, the opposite. He said, I'm going to bring the chewy one, the thicker one, behevi b'machvas, and he brought the flat one. Mashehevi hevi. So you don't have to throw it out. Why? Because mistama, he had another nedava. He had something else going on in his mind. He did another nedava, a different time. But this that he promised, a shallow one, and he brought a deep one, you weren't yotzi, you start over. But don't throw out the one you brought because maybe it's for something else. What Rabbi Yisai, think about for a second, you'll all know the answer. If somebody says zu, this flour right here, zu, is that called a neder or an adava? How do you know? Zdaiv, zu. So, but what does it mean? What does it mean it's an adava? It means that if you point at something, say this, then that it's this. You can't change it. Zu lahavi b'machvas. You point to this flour and you say, this flour I want to go in a shallow frying pan, vehevi, but he took this flour and he put it in a deep one, now he made a puzzle. Made a puzzle. You can't talk about this particular flour and change its designation from shallow to deep. And the reverse also, zu, it doesn't say zu, but he said zu, b'marcheshes vehevi b'machvas. He pointed to the flour, to the bag. This whole bag is going to go in a deeper one. But it went in a shallow one. Harei psula. Now you can't even use it. Ha'omer harei olai shnei esroinos. Yesterday I told Benny this mashal, so I think I'll just say it over. If somebody promises to bring to the Beis Hamikdash 2 animals, 200-pounders, and he brings one 200-pound animal, yoitza or not yoitza? No way, not yoitza, but it's the same amount of pounds. It's a different type of thing. If a person says, I'm going to bring 2 menachos, 2, each one requires its own kmitza, its own aktara. But he doubles it up. Instead of a typical mincha is how much? 1 isaron. So he brings 2 isronim. But he did it in 1 kli, not yaitza, because he promised 2. And the same in reverse. If he promises 1 and he brings 2, so let's say with an animal, he promises 1 gezunta, hefty 200-pounder, and instead he brings 2 smaller ones, 100, but he did double. Well, it's good. No, not good, because he promised a 200-pounder and he didn't bring a 200-pounder. If a person promises 1 mincha of 2 esroidim, and he splits it up to 2, it's not that he did double, he didn't bring what he promised. So Omer harei shnei esroinos lahavi. Here, he said, I'm going to bring 2 cups, 2 esroinim, but at the end, he only ended up bringing. This is not a good mashal because it's not the right size, but he brought 1 instead. Shkoich Reuven Schwartz, the Balamayim. What a character. What's very interesting about Reuven Schwartz, when I give him a compliment once in a while, he only picks it up 10 seconds later because he's on a YouTube delay. It's funny, but he listens. He listens in his ear. Okay. Mashahevi hevi videi chavas.
Would you like more water?
Oimer Eli Shnei Esroinos Lahavi B'Gli Echad. What? No, here, I'm reading it. Oimer Eli Shnei Esroinos. He said, I'm going to bring two. Lahavi B'Gli Echad. I'm going to bring, double measurement, but I'm only going to bring it in one vessel. Vehevi b'shnei kelim, he ended up bringing in two. B'shnei kelim vehevi b'kli echad. So basically, he doesn't have the right amount in the kli. He doesn't have the right kelim. Mashehevi hevi v'dei chavas eliyatza. So you continue bringing it again. Perhaps another time he made such a neder, and it was two. So let him bring the two, and I'll have to bring a different time the one. But now here's the interesting case. Oh no, elu. Now the same thing, if he points at it, instead of saying zu, he says elu, this is the flour. He specified the flour that's supposed to go in, but he ruined it by putting it into different types of vessels, two instead of one instead of two. Because he already designated the flour, this flour, like in a dava, zu, elu, and you can't change it. Same case, Rabbi Yisai. Same exact case. But there's a little variation at the end. He said, I'm going to bring two esroinim in one vessel. And he brought it in two. That's exactly what we had before. But, Amrulai, his friends are standing there and say, what are you doing? Okay. Kohanim. I don't know that it has to be a kohen. Let's say Yisrael could also. Fine, it doesn't matter who. Probably the Kohanim, but what if Yisrael saw it from a distance? What are you doing? You're messing up. So if he ignores it, what's the whole svar over here? How come you can continue bringing your carbon even though you mess up? Because perhaps yesterday you made another neder, and it fits your other neder, and nobody knows about it. But if your friends are making a comment, they're trying to fix it, and you don't tell your friends, hey, no, you got it wrong. I made a neder yesterday. You're right. You heard me say two kalim, but right now I'm bringing one kli because on Sunday I said one kli. You should explain yourself. If somebody says something, if you just ignore them, that means you don't care. If you don't care, that means you're messing up now. Yeah, you get it? Good. What are you doing? Why are you bringing in two? If he listened to them, that's not a chiddush. He listened. He changes his whole mahal. Then it's kosher. If he promised to bring two esroinim and two kalim, he messed up on the amount of kalim. Instead of bringing two klisharas, he brought in one. His friends again make a remark. What are you doing? Why are you bringing in one? You said two. If you brought in two, you listen to them, you change your route. Here's the little difference. But if you put into one kli, this has halacha. If anybody recalls, we learned about this. When you have two menachos that get mixed up, so if they're not completely mixed in, and you can make out the two menachos. You see, this is mincha aleph, this is mincha beis. They're both on the bottom of a giant frying pan. So you just take a kmitza and you go weiter. Nothing happened. If they're mixed in, then you have a problem. Says the Gemara utzricha. Huh?
Mishnah flips the style. Like first he doesn't listen, and then he listens and then
Okay. Utzricha. The kids are simple tzrichusa here. Why do I need two different cases of a guy messing up between a frying pan and a deep dish, and a guy messing up between two esroidim and one esroidim? It's the same idea. So, diashmin and hachkamaisa, mishum da omar, if I was just talking about a person promised to bring in a marcheshes and he brought a machvas, mishum da omar, v'kamaisa marcheshes. Okay, that's why you completely messed up the type of minchas, a different type. You bring the same type. You brought the right amount. It's the right amount, just not in the right kalim. So I think I'll let it go, let it slide. Maybe he doesn't have to redo it. No, you have to redo it. And if it only said the case of the amounts and the kalim, at the end of the day, you're breaking up your carbon. You promised a gezunta two esroinim, what's two esroinim, like 10 pounds, and instead of you wrote two 5-pounders. No good. But by the marcheshes, you brought the right amount. You just brought the wrong kli. I'll let it slide. I don't know exactly why, but I would think so. Tzricha. Tana Rabbanan. Masha hevi videi nidre liyotza. We learned that you could bring it, but you have to bring again. You continue. You don't throw it into the garbage. It's okay. It's a good. He probably had another nether in mind, but he has to bring another one. Reb Shimon Omer af yidei nidroi nami yotza. In all the Mishnah, in every case, if a person said a marcheshes and he brought a machvas, a marcheshes, you yoitza. Yoitza. Zu, because at the end of the day, I think it has to do with his, he holds it has to do with his machshava, and he put it into the machvas at the end. At the end, that was his thing, okay.
It doesn't matter what you say. That is the key for it.
Interesting. Zu lahavi b'machvas. If he said only this flour I want to bring in a pan, and he ended up bringing it in a marcheshes, it's possible. Why is it possible? Take it out of the marcheshes and start all over again. What did the pan do? What did the marcheshes do? We learned that the klisharis doesn't have an effect on it. You're right. It doesn't have an effect to the point that you can continue bringing it onto the mizbeach of a kitchen apostle, which we had the other day. It has enough effect to ruin it. Oh, so what happens? You have sponsors. Sponsors by Benny's. Oh. A person on Sunday says, I want to bring a carbon mincha to the Beis HaMikdash. And on Monday, he goes to the store and he buys a bag of flour and he takes out from the flour. So when exactly does he decide that he's going to bring a frying pan and a deep dish? At the time of his neder, when he specifies, I'm going to bring a mincha, a marcheshes. Now when he pulls the flour out of the bag, at that point, it's too late, you can't decide then. According to Reb Shimon, you decide all at the end. When you're removing the flour from the bag, loy. Why? Kasher says in the pasuk, as you make a neder, a vow, v'loy kasher yifrash, but not when you are separating and removing and putting aside the flour. Itmar nami. Omar Reb Acha Reb Chanino, Omar Reb Asi, Omar Reb Yochanan. Lo shanu elo shekavan b'shas neder. This is mamish, a freebie, 3 lines of freebie. Well, we have a few freebies today. B'shas afroshalai, you have to say, by the time that you say the neder, it's all about, once again, you see the idea, it's about your speech, your dibur, not the maisa of removing the flowers. When you say, I'm going to bring a mincha, elo shekavan b'shas neder, b'shas afroshalai. Why? Kasher nedarto, v'loi, kasher hifrashto. I pointed out in the Hebrew Shir, and I want to point out here as well, that I feel privileged to sit in a room where there are a bunch of people in this room who on Yom Ha'atzmaut said Hallel with a bracha. And there are a bunch of people in this room who said Tachnon. There are some people in this room, that fasted on Yom Ha'atzmaut. No, there's nobody in this room that fasted, but maybe in the Hebrew Shir, there are a few Rishonim that show up there. But at the end of the day, we all get along, we're all friends, and we all respect each other's hashkafa. My hashkafa comes from my father, who gets it from his father. Sometimes I question the hashkafa. Sometimes I say, I don't understand, maybe I should do it like this, like that, but this is what I do. So I appreciate the fact that this year I didn't receive any emails. Why did you say Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut, and why did you say this? Every year I get a little, shtuck from this one, that one. But we have such a variety of people in the same room. There's people that said Hallel without a bracha. People with a bracha. People tachlan. People that didn't do anything, just they didn't know tachlan. There's all types. Some said Hallel barabim, some biyochid, some darshan, and they don't understand how. But no, seriously, I always have found it interesting. Like you come to me, like, why didn't you do this? And I don't come to you and say, why didn't you do it? We all have our shkafa, and we might be right, we might be wrong. I don't know. But Lamaisa, we're a bunch of Yidden doing the same thing. We're learning Torah together in the same room. That's what we're doing. I want to tell you, this morning, my son-in-law sent me a clip that's going around, I guess, from Rabbi Berkowitz. It was great. He brings from Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz said that based on the Satmar Rav, you have to have a tremendous akar satoiv to all chayalim. Why? Because the Satmar Rav says that you're not allowed to go to the kaisel, because if you go to the kaisel, you're going to have akar satoiv to tzahal. So if you go to the kaisel, you have to have akar satoiv to tzahal. It's a Maridig part. According to the Satmar Rav, you have to have a akar satoiv to tzahal. That's where Berkowitz said it. Okay? Yavaldik. I went yesterday to the Kaisel and I enjoyed myself a lot. I had charata. I wanted to take a video. I forgot to take a video for MDY. But I went to the Kaisel as akar satoiv. I had to give the Rebbeinu Shalom akar satoiv. One day I'll tell the Olam why. Tremendous akar satoiv. I remembered, hey, when I was in America, I was in Chicago, and something good happened to me. I got on a plane, went to the Kaisel, didn't go to visit my family, nothing. Got on, went to the Kaisel, B'dafka, because I didn't want to make it a trip that I went to Kaisel, got back into the car, went back home to America. So if I live in Eretz Yisrael, why shouldn't I go to the Kaisel? So I went with my wife. It's a shtickle better. I'll tell you, it's a geschmack when you're Magid Shir, so you have a privilege, some privilege. I drove into the Kaisel, pulled up, the gates, they go, Shari you can't even get in. No, they see the license plate, it opens up. It's mamish automatic. You go in, harav, and then the two cops there with tzitzis. Cops at the Kaisel, tzitzis. The daf, the whole thing. Be'ez Hashem will have more lemdei daf, chulim. All right. Zok the Mishnah. Harei ha'omer, harei olai mincha min asoyrim. This is a famous sugi in Shas. This we have over and over. You should all be familiar with this. Why? Listen to this. We all learn Menachos. What mincha is made out of barley? Saita and Omer. That's because you learned the daf. You know. There's only two menachas that are made out of barley. If a man whose wife did not warn him not to be misyachah with another woman, there's no such thing. A sight. If a man is not a sight. If a man gets up there and says, I want to bring a mincha out of barley, and it's not shvuas, so it can't be. She screamed at him not to be a sight. Do not be a sight.
She's a sight and he's a shite.
He's a shite. Yeah. How's it possible that a man says, I want to bring a barley mincha? There's only, if he was a woman and his husband warned him not to be misyachah with somebody, I get it. But he's a man. A man cannot bring barley. So what Meshugana gets up there and says, I'm bringing a barley mincha. So what do you do? What do you do in such a case? He says, I'm bringing a mincha that's barley. No. Klum. What do you say, Rabbi Raki? What do you do in this case? Huh?
Today everything's possible. Exactly.
Again.
Who? What about? No, I didn't hear.
You gotta yell sight again.
Sight again? No. Okay, Rabbi Isai. There's something called Tfais Lashon Rishon, Tfais Lashon Achron. I could take, you said it? Palgin Dibura. It's a musing in all of Shas. A guy contradicts himself. He says shtusim. So do I take the first part of the sentence? Harei olai mincha, period. Soirim, bananas, shtusim. I don't, everybody knows you don't make a mincha out of banana. So that part I ignore. Or perhaps no. The guy was saying, harei olai mincha. All of a sudden he realized, wait a minute. Mincha, I have to drive now all the way to the Kaisel. Bananas. So I'm going to erase what I said by saying shtusim, and that's going to erase the. So it's a machlokes between Bisham and Yisrael. Do I go by the first? Do I go by the beginning or go by the end? Ma'aser kof. Okay, you like that video? Okay, good. Me too. You might like Midas from now on. Midas machine. Medidas, not Midas. Medidas, unbelievable. Medidas, unbelievable. Zok the Mishnah. He messed up. He contradicted himself. I want a mincha, but I want it out of barley. Every mincha in the world is made out of wheat, besides two that are not nogeya today. Yavim and achitim. We say he meant to bring a mincha. Soirim, I ignore. What if he says, kemach, I want to bring it out of flour? Again, Only a Saita brings Kemach. Everybody else brings Silas. Yavi Silas. Bring it like a bench. If he says, B'loi Shemin or B'loi Levina, those of us who learned Menachos, what mincha does not have oil? You know how the Israelis remembered? They said, Mendi Auerbach. They all remember that. They remembered how. Why a guy that does a sin, he should gain and he shouldn't have to pay the $2 that the oil cost? So that's how you remember. A chayta does not bring oil. He messed up. The only people, he's not bringing a mincha because he's a chayta. He's not bringing a mincha because he's a saita or a shaita. He's bringing a mincha because he wants to bring a mincha. So he messed up. Yavi Shemenu Levina. We ignore him. The second part of his statement, disregard. First part of the statement, Harei mincha, bring a mincha like a mensch with Levina, with Silas. What if he says Chatzi Yisarin? He has it. We all know a mincha must be at least one Yisarin. He ignores it. Yavi Yisarin Shalem, we ignore him, and he brings a full Yisarin. Yisar de Mechza, this is a good one. He says 1.5, there's no such thing. I got it. Gewaldig. What about Isarna 1.5? Yavi Shnai. There's no such thing as 1.5. So bring 2. Reb Shimon Poiter. Reb Shimon says every case in this Mishnah, Potter. If a guy says, I want to bring a mincha made out of barley, he doesn't have to bring anything. Because that's not how people say it. So if he said it the wrong way, that means he wanted to erase his initial comment. Instead of just saying no, he says Sayrim. And Sayrim means nothing. So the Gemara is going to talk about it. I threw in bananas, which is wrong. The Gemara is going to talk exactly about what you said. Dafka barley, the difference between barley and anything else is because barley is something that is brought, and if you don't do the daf, certainly if you don't do the daf, you ask a general person in the street, what is a mincha made out of, barley or wheat? He most likely will not know. If you ask him, could I substitute barley for wheat? Or is there any mincha that's brought out of barley? He wouldn't know. How would a guy know? There's no way for him to know. Amai neder pischoi imayu. Isn't he trying to change, rectify, whatever the lashon is? He in the neder, he has an opening. It's me'in le'in b'yisa'in. It's just it's a beautiful thing that I think about constantly. It's just the mashal of how within every what's the word I'm looking for? Within every maisa that happens, that's not the right word. Within every area, okay, you'll insert that word. Every situation that we go through in life, you have the answer within. But one of the most beautiful mishalim, or not a mashal, a ma'aseh shahaya, is Yosef Atzadik. Yosef Atzadik dreams that he's going to be a king. A minute later, he turns into a slave. How's it like from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me hints that I'm going to be a king and I'm going to be a slave, but a regular person says to himself, "It's simple, something's wrong here. I was lied to. This is not fair." But within the actual story, the only way he could be a king is with that contradiction, by him being a slave. So anyways, within everything in our life, everything that we go through, the answer lays right there. It's neder pischoi imoy. On the one hand, you have a neder, but you have a pesach. There's an understanding. There's a way out of it from within it. Omer Chizkiya, Homani b'Shamai. Oh, so here's the machlokes Beisil and B'Shamai. Beisil will say, before I show you this, let me just show you the characters. The characters, you have Silas and Sayrim. Silas is the number one. Most of the Menachos are made out of Silas. And who's the last man standing? Rishon and Sayrim is Lashon Achron. So when you see the Silas, Beisil say the Achron stands. The barley is the one standing. Tfos Lashon Achron. And Bishami say Tfos Lashon Rishon. You go by the first part of the statement. Beisil say you go by the second part of the statement. Says Chizkiya, I go with Bishami. Our Mishnah goes like Bishami. Again, a person says, Harei alai mincha, I want a mincha, so he has to bring a mincha. The second part of the statement, Sa'irim, I ignore that, disregard. So twice, Lashon Rishon, Chizki says this Mishnah goes like Beis Shammai. Slightly problematic because we go like Beis Hillel. How do we fit this Mishnah into Beis Hillel? Homani Beis Shammai, the Armi twice Lashon Rishon. This nan, Hareini, Nazir, Min HaGroigrois. If a person says, here's Rabbi Turjuman again. Look at this, he's standing there next to the grapes, but he says, oy, 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 check this out. A person looks and he says, I want to be a Nazir. A Nazir is somebody that refrains from grape product. He doesn't drink wine, grapes, and he looks at the figs and he says, I'm going to be a Nazir from figs. So again, once again, we have a Palgina Dibura. We have Hareini Nazir, period. I'm going to refrain from grapes. Figs, disregard figs. So that's the classic machlokes. It's not Hareini Nazir, Min HaGroigrois, Min HaDveila. Dveila is, Iguli Dveila, something like this, where they press the figs together. So his words contradict each other. Beis Shammai Oimrim Nazir. Beis Shammai said he's a complete Nazir, and we disregard. So in other words, Tfais Lashon Rishon, let's grab the first words, disregard the second. And in Nazir, we go by the second words. He meant refraining from figs, and that doesn't exist. So that's Chizki. Chizki says, I go with Beis Shammai, everything is great. Says Rabbi Yochanan, I prefer to go with Beis Hillel. And in fact, the Gemara is going to say that Chizki also goes with Beis Hillel at the end. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Afilu Teima Beis Hillel, we could go with Beis Hillel. Ba'oimer, Ilu Yisi Yedea Sheinoidrim Kach, Lo Yisi Noide Kach Elo Kach. Says Rabbi Yochanan, I go, even though Beis Hillel says typically Tfais Lashon Achroin, and he said barley, and there's no such thing barley, but he explains himself. If a person explains himself right away, he says, listen, I didn't do the daf. I don't know anything about mincha. I try to be a smart guy. That's what I have at home. I said, let me bring a mincha out of barley. If I would have known there's no such thing, I wouldn't have said it. I would have said wheat. Okay, so bring a mincha out of wheat. I'm explaining what you're doing. Omar Chizkiya. Sa'irim is something that exists in the Beis HaMikdash by a Sait and by Omer. So okay, so he messed up a little bit. If a person said, I want to bring a mincha from lentils, that's what Rabbi Aryeh Simon was asking. Loi. He's completely potter. Ask the Gemara, what's going on here? L'chayra, if you say Tfais Lashon Rishon, so the guy says, I want to bring a mincha. Period. End the story, bring a mincha. The fact that he added on a watermelon or lentils, ignore. He holds like Beis Shammai. And they go, you just use the first words. So what difference does it make if he said Sarim or Dashim? Says the Gemara, Hadarbe. He actually holds, I forgot to put this in there. If you go, Mincha and Adashim, Potter, why? Because you're going by the Adashim. And that's why he's Potter. So in other words, I hold Tfais Lashon Achron. How can you hold Tfais Lashon Achron when you hold Tfais Lashon Rishon? Rabbi Yochanan, on the other hand, says it's problematic also. He says that if a person says mincha and adashim, you're chayiv to bring a mincha. That means that I stop. I go mincha, period. So that means I go by Lashon Rishon. But he holds like a basil that says Lashon Achron, but that's not the Gemara's kaddish. So, Hadarbe. The real question is, why Hadarbe? Why did he take it back? Maybe there's a difference between adashim and sa'irim, and that's what the Gemara is going to ask. By adashim, there's no mistake. By Sarim, you can make a mistake because that's in the Beis HaMikdash. But nobody, even a guy that never learned Menachos in his life knows that you cannot bring a mincha out of lentils. Ask anybody, go to shul tonight, you can ask them, is a mincha made out of barley or wheat? Nobody will know. But if you ask them, is a mincha made out of lentils or wheat? They'll tell you, no, not lentils. Not for sure not. Yeah. That's 2026, not then. Hodabeh. Says Gemara, my time, Hodabeh. What's the real reason? He had a problem with the Mishnah. If it's true that the Mishnah goes like Beis Shammai, they go with the first words and we don't go with the second words. Tell me a much bigger chiddush. When a person, if you go with Lashon Rishon, a person says mincha, so even if he adds on something silly like lentils, we still go with it. The whole point of the Mishnah is that we go, it's a mistake. You can make an honest mistake between flour from wheat versus flour from barley, because in the Beis HaMikdash you have barley also sometimes. Here, coming up, we have the Omer coming up, it's made out of barley. But nobody's going to make that mistake. If a person says, like you see on the right bottom corner, if a person says Mincha men Adashim, you have to bring it. Why? He holds that the whole mission is going to Beis Hillel. And the whole point of Beis Hillel is why, even though they typically hold, you go by the last words. And the last words were Sa'irim, and that's a no-gooder. But the reason why we go with the Lashon Rishon here is because he made a mistake. He explained himself. He said, had I known, I wouldn't have said Sa'irim. B'shum Ta'ihu, B'Sa'irim Ta'i, Ba'adashim, Loi Ta'i. In fact, but in Adashim he doesn't make a mistake. So you should go with Lashon Achrein, according to Beis Hillel. Says Gemara, L'dvar the Chizki Kamerlei. Rabbi Yochanan goes like Beis Hillel, but he's telling Chizki, I don't understand you. Why did you come to my team? Why did you reverse your shita? You went from saying that the Mishnah goes according to Bishavai to the Mishnah goes according to Beis Hillel. That I have a problem with. Why? Stay on your team. Your whole svara is, you proved it from the Mishnah that the Mishnah used the word Sa'irim instead of Adashim. Dilma, maybe that's not such a great question. Dilma, maybe the Mishnah was saying, that certainly, there's no chiddush in Adashim because a person took it back and he's going with the first language. Nami. The reason the Mishnah uses the Lashon of Sa'irim is because maybe in Fakert, in Sa'irim, a person can make a mistake. And I feel Hagit was Lashon Rishon, still go with the first Lashon. Daf Kuv Gimel Omid Beis. Brand new sugi. Sponsor. Good time for a sponsor, Taka. Turning to the Daf. Adar Global, specialist in international financial services. Chaim Milrad, Fushlema, Imi Mirasi, Fradal Etel, Bas Chana B'Soich, Shar, Chayle, Yisrael, Amen. Omaziri. Okay, we could show the video. Let me give Akdama to the video. What's his first name? Itzi? Itzik Leibovich is a Satmar Chassid, and he's been going around making short clips to get people to do the daf. He'll stop people in the street. I think I showed a video to his. He drives a minivan for Parnasa. He's fluent in English, and he learns the daf 4 times a day. 4 times a day. He knows how to learn. He's a good learner, but it's in his bones that he wants to get another person. He says it changed his life. His last year was unbelievable, and he wants to get more people to learn Torah. So he went ahead and made this video, and I saw this clip this morning. After I saw the clip, I was walking to Shir today, and I said, wow, it's a good clip. Imagine if more people made clips like that. So I want to make an incentive. I want people to send in their clips, send a clip, but also post it to your status. Any clip that you post to your status will be included. Benny, I'm making you in charge of this, because I'm going to forget. So, any person who sends in a clip, any clip, could be 10 seconds, 5 minutes, will enter the contest. First prize winner, $2,000. Second prize winner, $1,000. Third prize winner, $500. There's not going to be, no, there's going to be, Benny is going to decide the winner. The people on this table are going to decide who's number 1, 2, 3. We're going to show all the clips as they come in. And, who? Medidos. The Medidos Chevra are going to decide when you see Medidos Chevra. Okay, so we're starting today. Here's the first one. First entry. This guy is a big contender, this entry. Check out this entry, Rabbi side. Oh, this is Hebrew. Sorry.
8 יום לחולין, 8 יום למשהו שהולך לשנות לכם את החיים. אין לי ספק בדבר הזה. דרך אגב, מה זה?
זה MDY.
מה אתה קשור ל-MDY?
אני עושה כל יום.
כמה זמן?
220 יום.
וואו, ואתה?
310.
ואתה בטח גם עושה.
These are real guys? These guys really do it.
ואתה?
880.
שמעתם 880 יום.
880 days is Bachar did the daf.
וכמובן זה לא קשור לישיבה. יש את הסדר של הישיבה, חוץ מזה, הם עושים גם את זה. אז הנקודה היא ככה. אנשים אומרים לי, אני לא מגיע לבית שמש. לא צריך להגיע לבית שמש. יש לנו מוקדי צפייה מפוזרים בכל הארץ, והכי כיף זה להגיע למוקד צביעה, לקחת את השעה הזאת ולהקדיש את זה לתוירה. מגיעים למוקד, מתחברים לאנרגיות, מתחברים לגשמק, לעולם ביחד. תן לי בבקשה מוקדים.
טבריה, רכסים, חיפה,
ביתר, תל ציון, נווה יעקב,
רחובות, קריית אתא, אשדוד,
בני ברק, מודיעין עילית, פתח תקווה,
קניון רמות, קריית יובל, לוצק.
בקיצור, אנחנו מפוזרים בכל הארץ. חבר'ה, הנקודה היא, כמו שאמרתי בהתחלה, זה להגיע למוקדים. ואני אומר לכם, חולין הולך להיות פצצה עם כל ההמחשות, עם כל האיורים. מי שראה את הסרטונים האחרונים, ה-AI ב-MDY רק עולה. עשינו מעלים בקוידיש ולא מורידים. חבר'ה, 8 יום לחולין, 8 יום לשינוי שלכם. קבענו. חבר'ה, יש מוקדים.
All right. It's Givaldic. That's entry number 1. I don't know if he can't drop below 500, this guy. How you gonna know it? There's gonna be more than 2 then? Try to do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's bring those guys in. Bring your statuses in. Bring them in. Yossi, you got a status for us? Coming?
I'm working with AI right now.
Good. Givaldic. Good. Right now, middle chair. He's not wasting any time. Givaldic. Okay. Omar Ziri Lishanu Elo Do Omar Mincha. When a guy says, this whole thing that twice Lashon Rishon, Rabbi Yisai, you got the first words in a sentence is because he said Harei Olai Mincha. The Omar Mincha. He says Harei I want to bring a Mincha. Avaloi Omar Mincha. But if he didn't say Harei Olai Mincha, what did he say? Says Rashi. Listen, this is a little tricky. You got to write it in with your pencil. He said Harei Olai Minchas. It's a big difference. If a person says Harei Olai Mincha Sa'irim, so I could split his words. Anybody that speaks Hebrew knows. Harei Olai Mincha, period. Sa'irim is another sentence. But when a person says Harei Olai Minchas Sa'irim, the Sa'irim goes together with the word Minchas. You cannot split those 2 words. They're together. Minchas Sa'irim. It's a Mincha of. Minchas means Mincha of Sa'irim. I can't break his words. And therefore you don't say Pagin Dibura, he would be Potter. Because he said specifically, you can't make 2 sentences out of 1 sentence. If you can't make 2 sentences out of what he said, so what he said is a contradiction and shtusim, and therefore he's potter. So Rav Nachman said this over. So Rav Nachman asked, what about in the Mishnah that says, Kemach, the Mishnah doesn't say what he said. It doesn't say in the Mishnah, Harei Olai Kemach. L'chayra, Kemach Yavi Soilus. My love, Deloy Omar Mincha. He didn't say Harei Olai Mincha Kemach. He probably said, looks like in the Mishnah that he said, Harei Olai Mincha. Harei Olai Kemach. Sorry, Harei Olai Kemach, he said. Now, a person, Rashi explains, a person doesn't say anything levatala. A person doesn't just stop say things. So Mela, when he says Harei Olai Mincha, then he's being serious. Harei Olai Kemach. My love, Deloy Omar Mincha. Even without saying Mincha, he's chayev. So the Gemara, no, Omar Mincha, no, you have to say, he said, no, only in a case where he said Harei Olai Mincha, like Ziri says. Now, so, freebie. Beloy Shem Levina says also the Mishnah, Yavi Shem Levina, my love, Deloy Omar Mincha. Deloy Omar Mincha. He said Mincha. Chatzi Sarin, Yavi Sarin Shah, my love, Deloy Omar Mincha. Deloy Omar Mincha. But the Gemara is setting up this question. What about the end of the Mishnah? It says, Isarim Mechsa Yavi Shnayim. If a person said 1.5, he has to bring 2. Even though Amar Mincha, so ask the Gemara, once a person says the word Mincha, according to you, Ziri, he says Mincha, then you say twice Lashon Rishon. When a person says Mincha, then the first thing that he said is good. Why is he chayiv 2? He didn't say anything on the second part is nothing. His twice Lashon Rishon goes on a full mincha. The second part of Chatzi is nothing. If you want, we can see Taisis real quickly. Bishlaimi Taisis de Ramatzik Lihachi Ema Sefer Yisarim Mechza. Bishlaimi Eloi Omar Mincha Mighty Trey. If he didn't say the word Mincha, he has to bring 2. Boimir Eli Yisideh because he explains himself away. If I would have known. Elo Kivin de Omar Mincha Yisarim Mechza. But if he says the word Mincha and he says the word Yisarin Umechza, so the word Mincha goes on the Yisarin and a Mechza is nothing. And my maybe Trey, why should he bring 2? Ha'armes Deicha de Omar Mincha in Klum. You Ziri say you have to say the word Mincha. So now he did say Mincha, but only on one of the 2 words. Ziri says if you don't say the word Mincha, Taisus gives a better knetch here. If you don't say the word Mincha, you don't have to bring it all. So over here he said mincha, isarin v'chetzi. So the mincha is going to go on the isarin part, and on the chetzi he never said mincha on it, so you shouldn't bring it at all. Says Gemara, you're right. When he didn't say 1.5, he said 1/2 and 1, and the word time out. So look at what the Gemara does here. A little different than what you think. Yeah, we're changing it around a little bit. The kivin d'amar mincha. So the word mincha right there and then means a full isar. Mincha. If a guy says harei mincha, how much does he have to bring? 1 isar, without explaining how many isar is. And when he says I want to bring a half, on the half part we're going to disregard completely. And then you hear what's going on here? Nachamal. He says mincha, that's 1. He says chatzi, that's 0. And then he says isar, and that's another 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's why he says bring 2. But if he really says mincha in this Mishnah, I don't understand. You're telling me that a person doesn't say dvar of levatala. A person, he said over here mincha. So why does Reb Shimon say he doesn't have to bring anything? He said arei mincha. He should at least have to bring. He should have to bring an isar. Amai amarava Reb Shimon Shitas Reb Yosi Amara. He also Reb Yosi. There's another slightly different shita. We have Tfos Lashon Rishon. We have Tfos Lashon Achron, and we have a shita called. He's busy making a status. Look at him with his phone. Looking at the ceiling. We have a shita that combines the two and says, listen, if there's a mishkababel, if there's a stira here, then we have to disregard everything. We have to. Sorry, I'm losing my words. We have to. No, not that. We have to consider every statement that he says. So we're going to consider the first statement and the second statement, but they contradict each other. Says Rabbi, so nothing. That's why he doesn't bring anything, according to Rabbi Shimon. Okay. Zogt the Heilige Mishnah. And here we're going to come to one of the, a classic. I can't wait. We had this already. It's like chazara for us. A person brings a giant kli of 60 isarin. A typical mincha is 1 isarin. Maximum is 60. That's the maximum. That could go in one vessel. But what if he goes over the limit? He does 61. Maybe shishim b'kli echad ve'echad b'kli echad. It seems from the Mishnah that you bring one kli that has 60 and one kli that has 1. Don't try to break it down 30 and 31. Just bachulchik. Don't break it 30 and 31. Just 60 and 1. Okay? Well, maybe sorry. Shekain hatzibur maybe beyond the rishon shechag on Sukkos. Shechalu is b'Shabbos. That's the most karbanos you could ever bring. Shishim ve'echad. Here, let me show you a beautiful thing that Yoshi did here. Every sheep, you bring 1 isar. You see, they're holding 1 isar in their hands. And the aisle is 2 isar per aisle. Cows are 3. 13 times 3 is how much? 39. 18 times 1 is how many? Very good. 2 times 2 is 4. So, 4 plus 18 is how much? 22. And 22 plus 39 is 61. Even if you don't know math, you can cheat and look at the top. It says 61. 61 isarin. So, that's the max. 61 isarin. So he says, if the tzibur brings, this is interesting, no one's going to love this one. If the tzibur brings 61, you know what? Take 1 off the community of an individual. An individual can bring up to 60. Reb Shimon doesn't make any sense what you're saying. These 39 that you bring with the cows, with the bulls, these 18 of the sheep, they never go into the same bowl. How did you just make a mincha that has 60 in one bowl when the bulls and the sheep never go in one bowl? It's also for you to mix it. That's why it's also to mix. That's exactly why it's also. You can't mix different types of menachos. The point is, physically speaking, you cannot mix more than 60. Makes no sense what you're saying. 60 you could, but 61 not. Amar lahem. Kol midois. Midois with a tough at the end. Kol midois chachamim kain. What are you talking about? Everything in halach is like that. Barbaim so toivel. It says you need 40 sa to be toivel. Ubarbaim sa chotzer kartoiv eino yachal litval b'hem. But 40 minus one little drop, the smallest amount, you cannot do tefillah. Shol she'ilah. They asked the question, Lamalam Rabbi Yehuda bar Eloi from Yehuda bar Eloi. Maybe so this is Chazara. How do you know if a person says 61, maybe Shishim Kli Echad, you can bring 61 Kli Echad Kli Echad? Pasach Rabbi Yehuda bar Eloi, Roshim Medar Mechol Makayim, the famous Gemara, if anybody wants to remember this Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda bar Eloi in the famous story of Shimon bar Yochai. Shimon bar Yochai, coming up, Mamish, like Boimer, Shimon bar Yochai. If you want to remember where that story of Shimon bar Yochai is, everybody knows, Shabbos, Daf, Lamed Gimel, Lag Boimer. So it says over there that that's why they started calling him Rabbi Yehuda, Roshim Dar. That's the whole story that started the whole fight. The Romans wanted to kill Shimon bar Yochai because Rabbi Yehuda bar Eloi, he stuck up for the Romans. V'chulu. The Ramah says from this Gemara that you see that the government has power over Rabbanim, that they could decide that so and so should be a Rav, because he became the Roshim Dar Makam because of the Goyim. Upon him, he said, "Va'amar shekei matzinu tzibur mivim biyantav v'rishon shechal liyus b'Shabbos shishim ve'echad." This whole thing that we just said, Dai liyachad shivchas min hatzibur echad. So in Beis Hamikdash you bring 61 Esrainim, the Yachad will bring 60. Amalei b'Shimon v'alei yelu par v'elim v'elik fasim v'elim b'lassim hav v'elim b'lassim raka v'elim Shabbos v'elim b'lassim bin arbayim. This you mix in the morning, this you mix in the evening. Bein v'lam zeh, they don't go together. Amalei and Marata. Amalei. So what taka the pshat? Harei oime v'chol mincha belula b'Hashem v'chareva. Kvar omer Torah have mincha sheichayli balal. Bring something that you can mix. Amalei b'shishim v'vlam b'shishim v'echad neinu v'lalim. What? 60 you can mix. 61 you can't. Here, this guy like this. Amalei kol midas chacham keni. This is how it goes in the whole Torah. There's nothing you can do about it. Barbaim so toivel. It says 40 saw. Barbaim so chasik kartav. The smallest amount of liquid. Any achal itfal. Kebeitza matam tudim sarchlam. Listen to this. This you have to remember, because in the video you're going to see, you're not going to understand what it is. You need a full egg to become tamei from a sheretz. If it's less than an egg, then it's not tamei. Less than an egg is not tamei. Chaser shum shum. Some people sum. One sesame seed. Oh, so let's do medras. Let's do medidos. My boy said, check this out. I love this. Medidos with the measuring tape.
Oh, yes, this is it.
No.
It's not kosher. Now it's kosher.
ואבוי, הוסייר שלך הוא חציצה בתפילין.
Of course there is a chatzitza. What are you talking? There is no chatzitza.
Maybe let go of me?
Is that better?
Shah, be quiet and let two Talmidei Chachamim argue in learning.
Sure, medidos. It's his idea, from beginning to end. Okay, let's just finish up here. Shloisha, Metam Medris. 3 tfachim and 3 tfachim, it gives tumah for a zav, a nida that sit on a chair, on a piece of beged. Shloisha chaser nimachas. If it's missing one hair breadth, einoi mitam tumas breaths. Should we finish this? It's mamish an hour. Okay, Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Motzi Shabbos at 10:02.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDAF.com.